What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. This Pay-Per-View-Point is going to be talking about WWE SUMMERSLAM 2018, which just ended a few minutes ago, and we're going to take our fresh off the whatever, I don't know what it's fresh off of, our immediate reactions to this, and our review and recap and post-show and all the other kind of stuff that we do here. Who is we? I'm your host as always, Tony Mango, and as always, I've got with me Callum Wiggins.
SummerSlam is back.
It is? Well, It's over, so now we're on the road to the next SummerSlam, technically, I guess.
Oh, hopefully that one will be back as well then.
Well, it's not going to be back in Brooklyn, at the very least. They're going to change that up. But we don't know where. They didn't announce that tonight. Anyway.
I'm assuming Los Angeles.
Possibly. And you just heard him a second ago, Robert DeFelice.
Hello, I'm me.
You are indeed you. And you are also not in Brooklyn.
I'm not.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
I was raised not too far from there, but I wasn't there tonight.
Look at that. We have something in common with SummerSlam next year. None of us are currently in Brooklyn. That's not what you're going to be hearing all tonight. We're not just going to be talking about that kind of crap. And if anybody is concerned about whether or not this is going to be all, us crapping all over it, like I had necessarily thought was possibly going to be the case, I will reassure you ahead of time. I liked about 75% of this. So it's not going to be just, oh, and this sucked, and this could have been better, and that kind of stuff, especially because that's not my voice. So if I was doing a podcast and it was like that the whole time, nobody would listen to it. But maybe I will. Maybe we'll do an edition of that in the future. Just be like, welcome everybody. This is the worst match ever. And try to do our Brad Garrett impressions or something like that. I don't know. Still want to do an episode where it's just, hey, what's up everybody? This is SummerSlam review, and we're going to get into this with the pre-show. 2 hours of a kickoff.
But Tony, what did Owen Wilson have to say about SummerSlam?
He said, wow, that's great. That's fantastic.
And this is why there shouldn't be 6-hour shows.
There is, because I'm tired at the end of it. This is why we're not doing the hot tags tomorrow night, because I need a break afterward.
Yes.
And this is why we might breeze through some of the things tonight, because really, you really want us to talk for 20 minutes about Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin, whatever the case may be.
It only lasted about one, so...
Yeah, if we go longer talking about that than the matches themselves sometimes, kind of strange. And we're going to start off with the pre-show. Per usual, the pre-show was predominantly recap material, but we did have 3 matches on there. And if I remember correctly, you guys said both of you skipped the pre-show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 4 hours was enough for me.
Yeah, you guys are lucky, because you didn't miss anything. They had the usual stuff going on, let's talk about this, let's show you a video package, blah, 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 blah. The matches themselves, Andrade and Cien Almas and Zelina Vega defeated Rusev and Lana in a mixed tag team match for the very first match of the night. Crowd was still kind of funneling in a little bit, so that's kind of a shame that they didn't get a full packed crowd for it. No appearance by Aiden English. Kind of surprised about that.
He wasn't in the building yet either.
He was.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
He was in Brooklyn. He has something that's different from all of us. I don't know. We're going back to that. Well, yeah, they told him to not come out, even though he had said that he was going to have the best song ever kind of a thing. And I thought that would be typical, per usual, that he would come out and screw things up. But Lana managed to lose all on her own. Zelina Vega put her feet up on the ropes and scored the pin that way. Not bad for an opener. It's just kickoff. It's a throwaway match. It's fine. Then we had the Cruiserweight Championship. It was Cedric Alexander retaining against Drew Gulak in a match that was okay, but honestly isn't going to make people tune into 205 Live anymore. A little bit disappointed in that, because I know that both of these guys are better than what that was. And it just sort of was a match. I mean, to quote Drew, it was a match. It's just nothing really to talk about here. Cedric Alexander went into this as the guy who I thought was the more likely winner. And if they would have gone with Gulak, I wouldn't have been upset. But they went with Alexander. I'm not upset about that either. And then we ended up having the B team retain against the Revival in what I thought was one of the stupidest matches of the night. It's unfortunate that the Revival is getting the Ascension treatment. And in a couple of months, or it might even be happening now, they're going to look at them and they're going to go, wow, the crowd really isn't all that invested in them. It's like, well, because you killed them. So the B team retain. We're going to keep on this whole joke of a Raw tag team division for a little bit longer. And,
Dude, remember yesterday when we said the fucking tag match was the match of the fucking night? And now we can't even get a good revival match, which is just a sin. Shame.
I don't know if there's going to be some kind of like a change with the revival somewhere down the line. Maybe it's kind of something along the lines of like just they go to SmackDown and suddenly they get to do what they should have been doing from the very start. Or if that's going to be something that kind of hinders them going forward. But it is a shame because we've seen the revival have so many good matches. Just not tonight. Not another one like that. That was the pre-show. That's what you missed. But the main card starts off with something that I really, really enjoyed. And maybe a lot of people on these different podcasts and stuff that are going to be doing their reviews aren't going to talk about it, but I want to talk about it. This whole video package with Terry Crews opening the show got me pumped. What did you guys think about it?
It was really good. I had seen it a couple days ago. They put it on their YouTube. It was real
they
good.
did?
Yeah.
Huh. Totally didn't pay any attention to that.
I'll say that I missed that as well.
Oh, you did?
Shame on you, Callum.
I wasn't
Now,
paying attention. I had the thing on mute at that point.
if you were to go back and watch it now, I don't think it would resonate. But going into that, I mean, I didn't really like the pre-show. I felt like it was 2 hours of a waste of time for the most part. But when they got into this, I started going, you know what? I'm actually kind of excited. And if anybody's listened to the predictions, they know that I was not excited about this card. But this little video package made me go, okay, all right. Kind of feeling that little, like, that vibe that I used to get when I was a kid watching WWE, where it would be like, oh man, I'm excited about what's going to happen. This seems kind of big, you know? I liked it a lot. And then when they went and they transitioned from that into Dean Ambrose's intro and then Seth Rollins' intro, my attitude at the time, I wrote it down, I said, it feels like a big card is coming our way and I'm super pumped. I got into this pay-per-view from the very beginning of that. You know, the 2-hour pre-show didn't kill my mood. Just from having that intro and the 4 entrances for the Intercontinental title match started to get me really kind of excited. Thankfully, the match itself, the Intercontinental title match, was really good. And that's a great way to start the show. You have a phenomenal match between 2 of the best in-ring performers that are happening. Title changes hands. Seth Rollins is now the Intercontinental Champion again. And my note that I had written down at this time was, please don't kill this mood, WWE. Eventually they kind of did, but we'll get to that far down the line.
Did anyone have the timestamp for this match?
No, but it's probably on Wikipedia by now already.
This says it's around 22 minutes. I think they haven't gone into specifics yet.
Okay, we're just checking because they had the half-hour-long Iron Man match, and I just wanted to see how they did.
Wikipedia says 22 minutes.
Yeah. Just yeah. It was a good length of time, but I like the fact that they were talking at the beginning. It says, they could go another half an hour for the Iron Man match, not thinking about the fact that in the Iron Man match that there was a pinfall after about 6 minutes. So it could have gone 6 minutes as well.
Oh, according to some of the other things that happened on this card tonight, that what's a possibility, you know? We've had some squashes and stuff.
I did say, just straight out of the bat, Jonathan Coachman was the worst part of this entire show to me. He was annoying as fuck, as per usual.
To be honest, I didn't even pay any attention to the commentary tonight.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I does say he's the worst thing because there were bits and pieces of the actual show which we can obviously talk about whether it was good or bad, but he's terrible, legitimately awful. His job.
What was his word for tonight?
I don't know what it was in particular. I got annoyed. I think I went over the edge when during this match he was talking about what were a few instances I'm trying to remember off the top of my head of when Seth Rollins was rolling out of the ring, and or Ziggler was out in the ring and coach saying, "Oh, he should stay out the ring to get counted out," and Cole immediately just toning down, so he wants to beat Rollins to like prove his dominance. And I could tell that Cole was actually getting on his Coach was getting on his nerves during the night as well, because he seemed to be, every time that Coach said something, Cole was just snapping back at him repeatedly.
Because Coach should be better. Coach, did fine in the heel commentary role 10 years ago. I don't know why Coach is regressing.
I think it was also the issue when we get to the Rousey match, stuff like that, the fact that he was calling out all the times that Rousey was speaking, because Rousey was calling her spots. It wasn't a case of her doing it to try and speak to the camera. She was actually calling her spots, and Coach was calling her out for it. Just dude, just you're a wrestling commentator now. Just act like a wrestling commentator.
Yeah, but he was on ESPN.
Yeah, so now he's legitimate. So everything he sees has to just be reported.
That'd be great though if he would have been I don't know. It kind of sounds like Ronda Rousey's calling her spots here. That would have been good.
That's just a down note to get over it, but just to get it as a universal thing that carries on during the night. But in terms of this match was a fantastic way to kick off the show.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I thought that, you put those two together and you tell them to just go out there and wrestle. They went ahead and did it. And I liked having Dean Ambrose ringside. I thought that he balanced out the whole situation with Drew McIntyre pretty well. And I literally have nothing but positive things to say about this whole thing.
Are we not going to talk about the reverse suplex into the spin out kind of 1916 type maneuver?
I kind of just termed it as the reverse Falcon Arrow move.
It was, what a great spot.
That
shows how good Seth Rollins is.
I mean, I got a standing ovation for it. So obviously all the match was getting a great reaction, but to have just one move hit and then just everyone in the audience seemingly just rises to their feet and applauds it. That's how you know this guy's so over at this point.
And I really hope that no stock drops for Ziggler and McIntyre, because they're so good. And I just want to see the Raw brand kick it into a new gear now. And I just thought it was great. It might have been the match of the night for me. There's one other match that might contend with it, but because of the crowd reactions, this might be the best match of the night.
It was definitely one of the higher ones up there. I definitely would put it in the top 3 for the night.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a definitive ranking or not yet.
I'd have to go back and watch some of them. It's quite a good feeling to know that this is a WWE pay-per-view that I might go back and watch. I haven't had many of those for a while.
Yeah, and for that matter, I don't know how I would rank this based off of just comparison between the different matches themselves. I don't know. It's going to be tough for me to kind of judge that, because partially, it sounds kind of dumb to say it, but sorry about that.
Hard to say as well.
There's part of this is going to depend on what happens afterward. And if I look back and I think that they should have gone a different route, then that's going to sour me on some of these matches and stuff. And right now, my opinion is Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins probably is going to be my favorite match of the night. But we'll see. Still, even if it isn't, at least for right now, big old thumbs up. I thought that this was a great way to start off the show, and my mood was right at the top of where it should have been, Then after this, we had the Bella Twins interviewed by Renee Young. Crowd booed them.
Yeah.
Mostly because they were just talking about their side projects and stuff. And
they're such terrible actresses. They cut for two people that have a lot of charisma in their reality TV show, they just can't speak in front of a microphone when they're being interviewed, or they can't sound real. They just sound so fake in everything they say.
You mean you don't believe that they are so excited to be there?
Oh, calm down, Tony. I want to carry on talking about the matches.
But I gotta talk about Birdie B. Come on.
No, because we're going to be out. No, because we're going to be out there just to see Ronda Rousey. That's the only thing we're here for is Ronda Rousey.
Which is annoying for another thing that we'll get into later. But Brie Bella's in the building and should have been more effective.
Possibly.
But, yeah, it's
We'll
like,
get to that.
we're only here to see Ronda Rousey. Even though my husband's competing, we're only here to see Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I was a little annoyed at the fact that The Miz didn't get in her face like, I'm going to send your husband back home. I guess
Well, it's because that's the
that
Samoa
was
Joe
somebody
thing.
else's job for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the way that they got treated here, the Brooklyn crowd, by the way, they were into this. It sounded from me, at least on my end of watching the pay-per-view, that the crowd was pretty much hot for almost everything throughout the night. And the fact that they booed the Bella Twins just kind of means that maybe they don't want to go with the company speak. And that's not bad, necessarily. I know it's not what WWE wants, but, you know, they're looking for, like, the whole, like, hey, look, it's the Bella Twins, yay! And instead, they ended up getting, like, the hell with these people. Especially because it's, like, they started mentioning all their other projects, and it was, like, we're focused on Birdie B and Total Bellas and Total Divas, and what was the other thing? Did they have, like, another thing now or something?
They have the wine, but they didn't mention the wine.
Whatever the other one was.
I think they just said about, like, with the Total Bellas, they just said that it's been renewed for a 4th season.
No, I thought that they had said some other kind of company.
The YouTube channel.
No, another thing on top of that.
No, it was the YouTube channel, Total Divas, Total Bellas, which was renewed for season 4.
I thought that they had said something that was like a name that I hadn't heard of before.
You know what annoyed?
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. I wouldn't follow that shit anyway.
Yeah.
You know what annoyed me is that they were like, and we're so proud of the women's evolution, and we've been here since the beginning. It's like, whoa.
Well, you're not here now.
Whoa. You know, whatever. Bella Twins. Move on.
You don't remember when they beat Moolah?
No. Moolah Mae Young, classic tag match.
I bet if Moolah's still around, she'd probably still want to beat him.
Yeah.
Well, then we went to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship between the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day, which, here's how I sum this up. Really good match, piece of shit ending.
That's pretty fair summation, really.
For those who don't know the ending, the New Day won by disqualification when Rowan introduced the hammer and just basically said, nah, screw this, I'm going to get us disqualified by using a foreign object.
So I think it's to set up another tag team Hell in a Cell.
Maybe, but
you wouldn't put these two in, especially in the co-branded pay-per-view. You wouldn't put these two in the Hell in a Cell.
That's the thing I'm thinking is, I think it's setting up another rematch, but I don't think it's a Hell in a Cell.
It could be no DQ, but I wouldn't go Hell in a Cell with these two.
I don't even think it's doing that. I think it's just another rematch, period.
Potentially.
That's what kind of annoys me about this stuff. And I'll mention this later on, but I've mentioned this over, the course of however many years I've been doing reviews and stuff. In my mind, you shouldn't have disqualifications or no contest type endings on pay-per-views. It should happen so rarely that when it does happen, it not only makes perfect sense and is surprising, but is acceptable because of it being like, oh man, they were backed into a corner and this is the only way that you can continue the feud, or wow, I'm so interested because there was like a double pin or something like that. This is lazy. This is them doing the whole thing where they go, well, we don't know what else to do. We already did the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers before. Let's do it again, but we don't have anything else for Hell in a Cell. I don't know, just have them not lose. That's stupid.
Well, I will say that this show, one of the things I liked about it was very story heavy. A lot of the things were just building to down the line. And even though I wasn't crazy about this particular DQ finish, we will get one later on in the show that more exemplifies what you're talking about.
It was very story heavy, but I also think that was a little bit of a detriment to it because my favorite part of this card was actually the matches themselves. And my issue was more so the booking with some different things here and there. But I didn't hate it all. Of course, again, like I said, I thought that this was a great match. And then it was just like, crap, you ruined it with that finish.
Yeah, this was one of my favourite matches of the entire night, in the sense that they were fighting quite an uphill battle, because it didn't feel like many people were interested in the match going into it. They just come off really great Intercontinental Championship match, so it would have been very easy for the crowd to just come down. And it seemed like they would be for a while when Woods was getting beaten down by the Bludgeon Brothers. There wasn't really much reaction. And then Big E gets the hot tag, and then they're completely switched on with the belly-to-bellies on the outside. And a load of near falls following that stuff. They made it feel realistic that the New Day could win the titles. And then obviously gave the terrible finish, but hopefully they'll just... And it's not a great way to end it. It definitely is like a lazy holdover for whether it's going to be another match on an episode of SmackDown or at Hell in a Cell. But hopefully it builds at least some heat and animosity towards the Bludgeon Brothers, because before that they've kind of just been like... the reaction to them has been more apathetic than anything. So maybe this will at least give them a bit of like people not liking them as opposed to just not caring about them.
Maybe. I don't know. I hope
Maybe it
so.
leads to Bray Wyatt rejoining them. And I'm a big proponent of you should never separate the Wyatt family. So, yeah, there's that. But that's me fantasy booking.
At this point, I would maybe be okay with that and just kind of make it like, oh, the Wyatt family consists of Bray Wyatt and the Bludgeon Brothers. Like, the two of them are brothers as the Bludgeon Brothers and whatever. And because Bray Wyatt, I mean... I kind of wrote him off a couple of years ago as being somebody who I'm not really all that invested in anymore, and I think that he has tapped himself out, kind of, and he's gone as far as he's going to. I don't see too much of a bright future for him, and if they throw him in that, at least it's one segment instead of two. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Then you could do a 3-on-3, and then just kind of keep it simple like that. Blah.
Yeah.
That took us into the Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman match. The Money in the Bank briefcase was on the line, but it really didn't matter all that much because Braun Strowman beat the shit out of Kevin Owens. Complete squash. Totally annihilated him. Didn't see that one coming.
Holy shit, he fucked him up.
Yeah.
He beat the fuck out of him. And it was like 2 minutes long, and he killed him. I was dead wrong on the predictions, guys. Dead wrong.
Yeah, you both were with that one.
Fucking wow.
Yep. And I was happy that I was wrong, although we will talk more about this a little bit later on when it comes to some of the way that some of this goes.
Yeah.
As far as just like keeping the bubble in this match itself, what did you guys think about the whole squash?
I loved it, but I want to know where Kevin Owens goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that there were squash matches on the card, which I thought to freshen things up. Obviously, we'll talk about a few other ones down the line. I just don't think this one works, especially because, I mean, Owens's ring attire was fantastic, so I'll just give a shout out to that one as well. But then, all the posters are suggesting that Roman Reigns is going to be facing Kevin Owens at Hell in a Cell. Like, how the fuck do you build Kevin Owens up to face Roman Reigns after this performance? And I know Strowman is Strowman and is meant to be dominant and should be beating a lot of guys at this sort of rate. But you couldn't even beat Jinder Mahal in this amount of speed. And Kevin Owens just got, I mean, this is almost as bad as his loss to Goldberg was.
I'll bring up a couple points a little bit later on when it comes to that. Because we're definitely circling back to this, because at this point, the Money in the Bank briefcase was in play, and it was just one of those things where it was like, oh shit, Braun Strowman ran through Kevin Owens. And in my mind, at the very least, I went, whew, okay. Because if Kevin Owens would have won, I love Kevin Owens. He's one of my favorites that's on the roster right now for WWE in its entirety. But if that would have happened, I mean, you guys heard my predictions and stuff. I was thinking that meant a guarantee that he was going to do some different things later on. So I breathed a little sigh of relief. And then that turned us into the SmackDown Women's Championship Triple Threat match. Carmella defending against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Very good match, I thought. Didn't like the ending.
That's okay, because the ending led to the post angle, and that was fantastic.
I have issues with that significantly. The match I thought was very good. I mean, I'm going to talk about this because, and I know I'll probably get hate for it, but Carmella's so inconsistently booked, it really annoys me. Because they did the thing building up to this thing where saying, oh, she's the diva, in the match, and it's like, okay, they're finally going to run with the idea that people talk about the fact that she's no good in the ring, and she's just going to be a bit wily about this, try and play the two off against each other, which obviously they did make allusions to in this match, which was good. Like the thing like slapping Becky on the back of the head and stuff like that. I mean, that was clever and crafty. But then they had her essentially beat up both of them almost at the same time. It's like, come on, like if you're gonna push her as like the diva or the undeserving champion, she shouldn't be their equal in the ring. She should be worse than them. And yet they present Carmella as just on the same footing because you can't make any of the women look bad.
Not going towards evolution, at least.
Well, I know, and that's part of it. But like, if she's going to lose the title anyway, she's not going to have a big feature in Evolution, almost certainly anyway. But it's just a sense of you can still make her look crafty and still make her look like vicious in her attacks, but more in a opportunistic type of way. Whereas this one, I just think that throughout a title reign, she was put on too much of an equal footing with the other women on the roster that she was facing.
See, I don't quite feel that. I feel like they put her as somebody who can't win. And in this one, she came off as the person who couldn't win either. And I thought she actually, she stepped up her game a little bit. I thought that she was pretty good.
No, that's what I was going to also qualify with the fact that I thought this was one of her best in-ring performances I've seen of hers. Like, she's pulling out the Trish Stratus Frankensteiners, and she looked a lot more vicious. I like the fact that she was like talking and taunting a lot. So it's like her performance is really good. And obviously Becky and Charlotte's, they're always consistently put on good matches. It's just I don't think it tells the story that I would want for this type of match.
Tell you another consistency, Becky Lynch with that hair. This seems to be in every pay-per-view type thing now. I don't quite understand that at all.
Well, I think it's for the big matches. I don't mind it.
Big hair for big matches?
Yeah.
And it just reminded me that, I don't know, made me think that she was trying to do an allusion to Glow or something like that. And it's not 1985. So.
Hey, real quick, has this always been a thing that at SummerSlam, literally every talent has new gear?
Didn't notice.
They tend to do it for like the bigger matches. And it's usually a WrestleMania thing, but maybe they started doing it for SummerSlam as well.
I've never noticed, even for something like a Mania, literally everybody had some new gear on them.
Well, Ziggler's going to need new gear now that he doesn't have the IC title anymore around his crotch.
Oh yeah, those tights were great. I mean, I think the first time I really noticed it for a SummerSlam thing was when Rollins came out in that giant white atrocity that 1 year.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I thought I quite like I don't know whether I like the ending or not, in the sense of the fact that it led to the post-match angle.
Well, for those that don't know, Becky had Carmella in the disarmor. Charlotte kind of snuck in, hit Becky with a natural selection, and got the 3 count. Carmella left, and she was crying, and boy, those looked like real tears. And then the 2 4-horsewomen kind of hugged it out, and finally Becky turns on Charlotte. And I had kind of said, I was watching it with a few other people, and I said, don't do Becky, because Becky is going to get cheered beyond belief because people are pissed that Charlotte won. So Charlotte should be the one turning on Becky, because then Brooklyn will really be like, oh, you bitch, you come back, you take her a moment, and then you're going to turn on her. But no, they went with Becky, and Brooklyn lost their minds. They were chanting, Becky, you deserve it, at Charlotte. Like, Brooklyn was loving them some Becky Lynch tonight.
Yeah, well, that is one of those things that here's my point of view. I had said before I thought that Becky Lynch was the right way to go. Charlotte is the type of person that I crapped on before, I came around to, and I still feel like she's... I guess a nice way to put this, you didn't anticipate that the person that you brought up as the sympathetic person in the match would get cheered over the person who has a little bit of elements of the Roman Reigns fiasco? Like, you didn't think about that, you know? Charlotte Flair is clearly, like, the company woman that they push. And for years and years and years, a lot of WWE fans have not been very receptive of that. And you position somebody to be like the favorite for the fans, and then you turn her heel, it's not going to work. Not in the Brooklyn crowd. And I'm very curious to see if on Tuesday night, because they're still in Brooklyn, if they don't pivot and change this around a little bit. And the word that I used in the heel and face turn list is backpedal. I would not be shocked at all if this turns into like a couple scenarios. Number one, Charlotte Flair ends up coming out and being like, that's bullshit that you did this and whatever, and she ends up turning heel. Number two, Becky and Charlotte continue down this road and it doesn't get the reaction that they want again, and they start doing the same thing that they did with Rusev and the same thing that they've done with Roman Reigns, where they just go, we're going to beat them over the head with it until they listen. And option number three, WWE goes, crap, they ended up cheering for Becky. What do? We have them make up on Tuesday night. And she goes, I'm sorry. Isn't that really lame?
Option number 3 sucks. I really hope that they don't go with option 3.
Look at what happened with the Sasha Banks and Bayley feud. It went on for like 7 months, and the big payoff was that they said, let's not fight anymore.
I love you. I love you. It's all good.
So stupid. So I don't think that that's the right way to go. I don't think putting the title on Flair is the best way to go. I don't think this Becky heel turn's going to pan out well. And I know that there's some people out there that are going to be like, yeah, but what if this leads to Becky versus Charlotte at Evolution? That's 2 months away. I don't want Charlotte to retain against Carmella at Hell in a Cell, and then Becky to be like nipping at the heels the whole time, and then, oh my god, we're seeing 2 horsewomen clash against each other, and she hates her. They used to be best friends. Are they ever going to drink tea together again? Like that kind of a thing. I don't care about that. And I mean, Charlotte's flip on the outside was pretty sweet. Like, that was cool, but she can't do that every time to make me think that that's the most interesting way to go, you know?
Mm.
Well, I really think that the easiest thing to do here is have Charlotte come out on Tuesday and be like, screw you people, you cheer when I get attacked by somebody who's supposed to be like a sister to me, and just have Charlotte be the heel and go with it. Because that's better for the long term.
There is zero chance they do that. And I'll go both sides. I thought most of this entire card was extremely well booked, but this was the one glaring error in the entire thing. It's the reaction afterwards. I know heel turns tend to get positive reactions anyway, and people were clamoring for Lynch to attack her after winning it, but it's the wrong reaction you should be getting. When someone turns heel, you should be pissed at them. You shouldn't be desperately begging them to turn heel. It's not the way things work. And I know that
somebody tried to tell me, well, it doesn't matter because kayfabe's dead and all that, but it's like, no, but you still shouldn't be cheering the bad guy.
Yeah, and like I know it's not going to change because like the commentators afterwards saying, oh, Charlotte got this unprovoked attack and it was a triple threat match, so anything could happen. Like she could pin anybody and be like fairly winning. It's like, yeah, they're clearly going with Charlotte being the babyface in this feud, and I assume Becky's going to come out on Tuesday and say the fans were never there, or the fans, you might have cheered in that thing, but where were you during the match, or where were you in other areas of my career desperately trying to get me into opportunities? And like they'll just kill off somebody who could have been like the big baby face in the women's division because they're so desperate to get heat on people. They don't care about making big baby faces unless they're the baby faces they want them to make, which is Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair,
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley.
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about Elias.
But
it's a shame though, because it's kind of like if Becky does go ahead and do that, and she just goes like, the fans didn't support me. It's like, did you listen to that crowd? You can't, there used to be a time in WWE, and of course we're crapping on this kind of preliminary because, preliminary is not the word, preemptively because we think that this is going to be the road that they go down. They might not, but if they do in fact do that, it's like, there used to be a time frame in WWE where they would see that kind of reaction and then they would go, oh, okay, people don't want the storyline that we were going to do. let's change it up and go with the one that is getting the good response. Stone Cold Steve Austin turns babyface against Bret Hart at WrestleMania. Could not have been the way that they necessarily planned on it going. If Becky Lynch gets super, super over-cheered every week leading up until this at different markets, it's not just the New York crowd, and the New York crowd doesn't boo her during her heel turn, you might want to rethink about making her the heel.
I mean, they could resolve this over time. They could have Becky initially be the heel, and then during the course of the feud, essentially do a double turn. I think that could be a way of resolving it, but it was quite clear after the thing. The only reason they were happy was because Becky Lynch was letting out her frustrations, because everybody in the audience sympathizes with her.
Yeah.
Because they recognise that she has been screwed over and over and over again, whereas Charlotte, now a 7-time champion.
What?
Yep, 4-time Raw Women's Champion, 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion, 1-time Divas Champion.
She's been on the roster for how long?
About 4 years? 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, blame Sasha Banks for losing the title so often too.
Yeah,
That's
well,
kind of the issue.
that was a 4-time thing.
Yeah.
3 years, 7 reigns? That's insane.
Yeah, and it's just a case of you're not going to get cursed. People may still like Charlotte. I don't think she's the most hated person. She definitely doesn't get at that level of the Roman Reigns treatment. But nobody's going to sympathize with the person who's champion all the time.
Yeah, this is the type of scenario where WWE is a little blind when it comes to this thing, because Charlotte Flair was getting pops. Now that you position her as, and that means that she's so much more important than everybody else and that kind of stuff, then that's that elitism that people don't like, and then that's what's going to get her to not get that positive reaction. It's kind of like being oblivious to the fact that if you are an underdog, people like that you're an underdog because you don't win. And when you can start winning, you're not the underdog anymore. And when John Cena started winning, he wasn't the underdog. And then they would paint him as the underdog and go, hey, how is Cena going to do it? And people would respond with the way he does it all the fucking time. And the way that Charlotte Flair is going forward, they now have to rehab that positive reaction that she had gotten. And if they don't take the exact right route, which I don't know necessarily how to do that, because in my mind, Becky Lynch turning heel on her is a mistake, then it's not going to work out. And you're going to end up with a babyface women's champion on SmackDown who doesn't get cheered like a babyface. And we'll get to that on a different story with a different champion later on. But I do think that if we are keeping on the positive train thing here, the match was really good.
Yeah, the match was good.
Very good. Very good.
So, as much as it's you made a mistake, that's
it
a continuation for this. I kind of feel like a lot of this card is wow, that match was really good, but crap, you kind of screwed it up at the end there a little bit with a couple different things. So this is the second thing throughout the night that makes me think that, the first being the Bludgeon Brothers scenario, which at that point made me go, crap, is this a SmackDown problem? Because it's SmackDown Tag Team title, SmackDown Women's title. Then we had the WWE Championship match, which was AJ Styles against Samoa Joe, another SmackDown match, and it ends in a disqualification. And I'm like, crap, SmackDown is the one that doesn't know what they're doing now. Because, look, I like the match. I like this feud with AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. But you know how I feel about DQ endings? The only way that they should happen is if it's the one and only way that you can continue something and that you haven't already done it enough. Not only did we get a DQ ending earlier in the night, but how many DQ endings or no contests or draws have we already had with AJ Styles in particular this year? 6, it seems. Maybe 4, whatever it is. We did the whole Shinsuke Nakamura thing, and is this the only thing that they know how to do on SmackDown? Is to go, well, we've got the next guy for X to fight, whether it's Carmella or AJ or, whoever the case may be. We've got this person as champion. What do we do with the feud for them? Let's throw this person in the feud. Okay, well, how do we make that a feud? I don't know, have them fight 7 times? Well, how do we do that? just don't give him an ending for the first, like, 4. Like, that sucks, you know? And if this was the only match on the card that did this, I wouldn't dislike it all that much. But this makes me just kind of go, all right, they're stalling until Hell in a Cell. Samoa Joe wins the title at Hell in a Cell. Can we just skip to it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I'm hoping that they're getting the Cell match.
They better.
I want them in the Cell. And I thought that if this was the way to say, hey, emotions are too high, you need to go in the Cell, I'm okay.
But also, that would be so much better if they didn't do that with the whole Shinsuke Nakamura thing to drag it out for 4 months.
Yeah, that's probably the bigger. I mean, you hit the nail on the head in that thing. It's the sense of, as if this was in a vacuum, it makes a lot of sense as a way to carry on the feud. But like you say, there's been a long running history, especially with SmackDown's main championships, where matches don't end in an actual finish, especially on pay-per-view. And already, if you go by the base of the night as well, there's already been a match that ended in a DQ.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I mean, I'll reference this later on. I've referenced it for a long, long time, but when Roman Reigns was fighting Brock Lesnar for the first time, I was into it. I was at the Royal Rumble 2015 cheering for Roman Reigns, wanting him to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania that year. I was so into that match. Then they did it 7 more times or whatever it was. And then by the time you do that, then you go, all right, well, what happened in this match? I don't care what happened in this match in particular. You've got a history behind it now. It's kind of like if you're in a relationship and if somebody goes, yeah, well, I only lied to you a little tiny lie. And you go, yeah, but you lie to me every day. Then you're dating a liar. It's not just like a little problem, you know? Right. And if this is the best thing that SmackDown can do with the world title, then we need new writers on SmackDown, because I don't want every championship to be like this all the time. And SmackDown's been kind of rough.
I agree.
I disagree with the overall assessment. I think SmackDown's been the far better show for the last good considerable amount of time. But I do agree that, at least with the thing, they should have had something like Nakamura win the title for a little while and then drop it back to Styles. They're going to do something like this, but they needed to have more actual finishes to matches. But in terms of like this match, trying to look at it more in a vacuum, I thought this was a fantastic match. I think they were holding back a little bit because they will have future matches down the line. But even so, I mean, we'll talk about another match where I think there was a lot of holding back, but I think this match delivered a lot more. I think they put a lot of good things together. The like reversing the calf crusher into the Coquina clutch, the Styles clash, which he barely managed to connect with because it's quite difficult. I think probably back in 2005, 2006, he would have had a much easier time grabbing hold of Samoa Joe for that move. But
Joe's girth really showed itself with that Styles clash.
Yeah. And I think even though it was a DQ finish, the ending was, I thought, like a masterpiece, really. Just Joe talking about, like, really getting personal with AJ Styles. Styles just going crazy, like assaulting everyone around him. Apparently, one of the production guys he hit was also the guy that Johnny Gargano super kicked.
That guy's having a bad weekend.
Yeah. And yeah,
it'd be great if that was like an inside joke. They're just kind of like, fuck you, Dave, or whatever his name is.
And then he, obviously, it's in front of his family, so he goes up to his family, bleeding afterwards. Obviously, the daughter says the line, "Daddy, you're bleeding." Then that's like, oh, that's the really bad thing to hear a child say.
She says, "Daddy, you're bleeding," and when he goes to hug her, she does not want to be hugged.
No,
does not want to be touched by him.
She don't want none.
And then they walk away, and Joe, after they do all the replay and stuff, Joe's walking up the ramp, and he looks like he wants to kill someone.
He's like, "I wanted to be your daddy,"
and I think it's going to lead to a great match at Hell in a Cell. I think
that line really did make me enjoy watching AJ kick his ass, because he looks at AJ's daughter and he goes, "I know I promised Daddy was coming home, but he's not going to make it. But don't worry, I'll be your new daddy." And then AJ just gets up and just goes ape shit. And I was so happy to see him beat the fuck out of Samoa Joe with the chair. And then freaking Finley, of all people, said, I'm going to stop this.
My name's Finley, and you can't fight.
See, I missed like the very initial reaction from AJ Styles because I was too busy laughing my ass off at the line because I was just like, oh my god, give Samoa Joe the belt. That's great.
But like, I know obviously we can talk about DQ. You don't really want to see DQs a pay-per-view, but if you're going to do it, this is the perfect way of doing it. And it's such a contrast to the previous match because you had a heel like doing heel stuff and getting like cheered wildly for it. And this time, because it's like a huge family issue, Joe says the line, the crowd just go, oh my god, you just said that. And like, I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed it, but they were booing him. And then this is probably the most, since he won the title, the most the crowd has been behind AJ Styles.
And this is where I kind of backtrack a little bit when it comes to the whole, if you would have set this up a little bit better, I wouldn't be so annoyed with it. If you didn't have the New Day Bludgeon Brothers thing happen, and if, say, AJ Styles beats Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania, they have a rematch at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and by the time we get to Backlash, AJ is fighting Big Cass, and he has a match with Big Cass, and he has a match with Rusev, and then, you know, we kind of like move around when it comes to that. If we wouldn't have dragged out that Shinsuke Nakamura feud, I think it would have been, number one, better for Shinsuke Nakamura, and number two, you take the other DQ ending away from this show, and you only have this one, wouldn't be complaining about it. I'd be like, oh, okay, you know what? It's stalling and it's kind of dumb, but at least it makes sense. And I agree with you. At the very least, it looks like that's going to be a good feud heading into Hell in a Cell. It should be a Hell in a Cell match. And when Samoa Joe wins that title, then that means, say, they have another rematch at the Super Showdown, and then that takes us into SummerSlam. But
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, yeah. Well, SummerSlam back in Brooklyn. We're going back to that joke again. And then that's when I kind of look at it and I go, okay, so they did this because they just wanted one more match out of it, and they couldn't think of any other way to do it, really. You know, the whole non-ending, Joe wins the title, then it's the rematch. It's the simplest way to go, but it's lazy. And that's kind of disappointing. Speaking of disappointing, the Elias musical segment consists of Elias breaking his guitar by trying to play one note, the crowd chanting, "You fucked up," and the end.
And that had to be real, right?
Nah, that was definitely planned.
Yeah, I wonder if that's because didn't Lashley like break a guitar during their last segment or something like that? So maybe that was him trying to repair the guitar and then it broke.
I just kind of think that they thought that it would be funny.
Oh yeah, they probably did. Yeah.
Just kind of like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Elias didn't even get a chance to do it this time because his guitar broke? Ha ha ha. You know, Vince probably backstage going, this is fucking great. Like, you know.
Because he even seemed like he just was so angry and he even almost let out the word fuck as he just throwing shit around. And
I think that was just a good acting.
It just seemed so awkward. And I'm not saying that, like, it wasn't going to fall apart anyway, but it just seemed... It was immediate and just strange.
I'm going to change you in the description from Robert DeFelice to Mark DeFelice.
I'll take it.
Positive or negative that we had no Bobby Lashley here? I think positive.
Positive.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it says.
I didn't like the immediate broken guitar, but I'll take immediate broken guitar over Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, honestly, it's like I know it probably was better without Lashley, but this whole thing could have just been avoided.
Bobby Lashley could have been avoided
because they postponed the.
So that's his mom and dad.
Actual...
We always try to retrospective look at different things and go, oh, if they wouldn't have done this, if they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You know, next fantasy booking. All right, you can go back in time to WrestleMania, and you could go back in time to when Bobby Lashley was born.
Like... Yeah, he should have only had the 3 sisters, didn't he, Bobby Lashley?
Yeah. They don't need Bobby Lashley. They got that dirty towel.
Yeah. Dirty towel versus Elias at Hell in a Cell. Book the match, damn it. That's kind of weird, though. Bobby Lashley doesn't even get anything on the card. It kind of shows how much they've screwed the pooch when it comes to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure we'll have something to do on Raw next night, and then maybe have something to do at Hell in a Cell. But some people just miss out on the big shows.
Well, the way Raw's going, who knows? Maybe he'll be a #1 contender.
Well, some people just miss out on the big shows.
Glad you're tired.
I'm actually more hungry than I'm tired.
Well, yeah, now you're seeing the big show stuff. Of course, you're going to be hungry.
Yeah.
No, I saw a picture of a bacon mac and cheese pizza, and I was just like, "Ah, God, I need it."
Well, speaking of cheesy, we had a B team segment next.
Yeah, the B team say we are not the Miz team anymore. We are the B team. The B stands for Daniel Bryan. Also, we have a TV show coming out, Total Fellas with a B, Total Bellas. I admit I laughed.
If they weren't tag team champions, they'd be so much more like it'd be so much more pleasant to enjoy their segments. It just makes you feel sad that they're champions as well.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, you should be the guys that everybody's going, why don't they give them the belts? Instead of the people going, why did they give them the belts? You know? Or, you know, if they were the tag champs in like I don't know, maybe in NXT or something like that, and it wasn't like the Undisputed Era were up on the main roster, then I'd play around with a little bit more like when the Vaudevillains were champs and stuff, but it's just kind of a shame with the Raw tag titles. But I like the segment, I thought it was funny. That turned us into the Miz versus Daniel Bryan. Some people saying that they didn't like this match. I liked it quite a bit.
I didn't like the crowd not being into it. It just seemed like they were flat for it, and I didn't know why, because I thought it was actually one of the better wrestled matches on the card.
I was disappointed with it, and again, this is definitely a match where they were holding stuff back because they're going to have future matches. At least it seems that way. But unlike the Styles Joe match, which was also holding stuff back, I think they did a much better job of it than this match. I thought this match was pretty pedestrian. I think both guys underperformed. Based on what they can do.
I
liked it a lot. Start to finish, I thought it was entertaining. I really liked the ending of it too. And for those who didn't see it, Maurice snuck a little foreign object to the Miz. She was ringside, and he gets knocked over. He's hanging over the security barricade, and she's checking up on him and just kind of puts something in his hand. And I didn't really get a good look at it, but it kind of seemed like it was brass knuckles to me. Did you guys figure out what that was?
Brass knuckles.
Yeah. It was
brass knuckles. So that, of course, came into play with The Miz just nailing Daniel Bryan in the head, scoring a pinfall out of that. And a little bit later on in the match, in the pay-per-view, they referenced this again with Brie Bella backstage, and Daniel Bryan's pissed. And he's kind of saying, like, I went through all this effort and stuff like that, and The Miz cheats, and I'm just kind of pissed off and whatever. And she gives him a little pep talk, and it does kind of make you feel like they're going to have another match going forward. So I liked it.
I mean, if you talk about that promo quickly, it did feel like they're at least teasing the idea that Bryan could walk out in WWE.
Yeah, that's the way I took it.
Because it was a sense of like saying, I came back with all this effort to come back to WWE, and I didn't come back for guys like The Miz to cheat like that. It's just like a sense of, okay, so if he does something similar to that again, then I'm out of here because I can't stand the way they're being treated, the way that I'm being treated, or the way that people are cheating their way to victories.
I just want to wrestle. I don't want to deal with foreign objects and fake babies.
But the fact that they did do it makes me feel like it was a tease, because a lot of people probably still believe that he hasn't resigned or something on those lines. I mean, if it is the way, then they may just be building towards that idea, but it was interesting at least, apart from Brie Bella's terrible acting again.
Brie Bella is a failure as a wife.
Well, that's a little harsh.
Hold on. Because this annoyed the living shit out of me. Why is it that they're here for Ronda Rousey, but your husband's in a match, the match that he's wanted the entire time he's been injured, and Maurice is going to be there and cheat, and you're not even going to do anything? You're not going to confront? We know you're in the building. We know you're there.
Well, Bryan wouldn't want her to cheat, because he's not about that.
Not cheating, he's evening the odds.
Now, do you guys think that actually turns into a match for Evolution, Maurice versus Brie Bella?
I felt that was being teased, yeah.
It's
maybe
that, or maybe the Super Showdown or Hell in a Cell, you get a mixed tag match.
Yeah, I was thinking either a mixed tag somewhere in the next few shows, or Maurice versus Brie Bella straight up at Evolution. It's whether Maurice is back in ring shape or not.
She looks pretty good.
Yeah, she didn't look that bad, but I mean, it's kind of impossible to know.
Yeah.
And I would think that more than likely it would happen those two against each other at Evolution than, like a mixed tag kind of thing, because is Brie going to really come back for a mixed tag match at Hell in a Cell? Nah, I don't think so. And I'm just, putting it out there already. I got a feeling that this Super Showdown is going to be a glorified house show again.
Yeah, it sounds like it, yeah.
Like, I think that that's going to be rematches and kind of like throwaway stuff. I don't think that we can see anything big going on there. So, Brie Bella returning to go to Australia to do a mixed tag match, I can't imagine that being the case.
No. I'd say about like the match in general. I think the Miz went to the well too many times with mocking Daniel Bryan's moves. I think it was a bit overkill. Or if he was going to do that, it should have been balanced out by Bryan going with some of Miz's moves.
That'd be kind of fun.
Just to even it out a little bit, because it just seemed like, okay, Miz is going to hit one of his moves occasionally, but other than that, it seems like we're just seeing a knockoff Daniel Bryan against Daniel Bryan. And I kind of was
kind of the Miz's shtick when Bryan was the GM, and it kind of worked. But now that Bryan's back, it just seems weird.
Well, it just seems to just take away from a little bit, and also, I think they need to remember that Bryan's come back from a lot of concussions. So maybe the thing where the clothesline where Bryan was straddling the ropes and basically landed on his head on the fall, maybe you try and avoid that stuff going forward.
And maybe
back suplex off the top rope, do it.
And yes, it's a work, but the dude was, concussion prone, and I know, let's hit him in the head with brass knuckles.
That was. I'm pretty sure Miz. I mean, Miz doesn't know how to punch anyway, but I'm pretty sure it would have missed.
Well, that's true.
But I think it was quite a poetic ending. I was seeing people talk about the fact that Bryan's one big thing when he came back into this was he really wanted to punch Miz in the face, and actually it was just Miz punching Bryan, albeit with brass knucks, in the face that gets him the win.
That's pretty good. Didn't catch that.
Yeah, that was a clever way to do it. I say I didn't think the match was terrible by any stretch of imagination, but I would only go as far as say good to very good, and I wouldn't go as far as say great or anything like that.
Did we like
I will
Bryan
say
the blue and the green?
No, but it wasn't the worst thing that was on tonight. I will say that this kind of made it to where I don't really want to see it at WrestleMania now, because now I've seen it.
Yeah, and we're going to see it very shortly again. So by that point, we'll probably burn out of it by WrestleMania time.
At this point, I want Samoa Joe versus John Cena, or I want Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan, or AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, which is kind of a shame because I really wanted the Miz to get that world title reign, and now I just don't think it's happening.
If AJ somehow gets by Joe, he drops it to the Miz, right?
Could be dropping at the Orton.
Yeah, I'd say Miz would probably be high up there, but it could be if AJ Styles is still champion after the feud with Joe, I'd imagine it would go to either Miz or Almas. But I'd be surprised if they give it to Almas this soon.
I'll put it this way: if we get AJ still as champion after Joe, and he starts a feud with the Miz around TLC is in December.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
If they fight at TLC, then I think if Randy Orton is fighting Daniel Bryan at that time, we get something like Samoa Joe against John Cena at WrestleMania, Randy Orton against AJ Styles at WrestleMania, but the championship match is Miz and Daniel Bryan. I could see that being the case.
There's a lot of avenues they can go down.
Yeah, and that's if Daniel Bryan even signs a contract, so we don't know. One thing that we do know is that we had more than one squash match tonight, and Finn Balor and Baron Corbin was another one, and this was pointless.
I told you we'd get the Demon at SummerSlam.
I've said before, I'll repeat it, the Demon changes absolutely nothing. It's face paint. It's the same as if, when Seth Rollins came out and he had that Infinity Gauntlet boot. thing going on. Did that change the match? Did he suddenly, wipe out half of the fucking universe? No.
But
I don't get the fascination with Demon Balor. He still has no personality. He still didn't change up anything in the ring, and it was a squash. This was utterly pointless to me.
I liked it. I thought it was perfect.
yeah, I thought it was a brilliant piece of work. I'd agree with you. Like in the past, Demon Balor just hasn't really added anything to it, but this time it worked because he did beat a fairly reputable guy in no time at all. Sense of like, okay, so the demon comes out when he knows he needs to beat someone up really badly or send a message.
And it felt so fresh because he hasn't been the demon in a while, and he's just kind of been quirky, lovable Finn Balor, and it was great.
He'll do that again tomorrow night. He'll just
I
be Balor Club dude again.
Well, I imagine Corbin is going to come out and do something like he's going to suspend or fire the demon, so the demon can never come back essentially, and then they'll have a thing where they have a straight match where like it's Balor versus Corbin, and if Balor wins, the demon gets to be reinstated.
I just hope that this feud's over with and we send one or both of them over to SmackDown.
I mean, at least I appreciate the fact that, especially with the fact this is the match that I think most people just weren't looking forward to or weren't going to think about. They found a way to make it memorable and just get it over and done with quickly. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm glad that it was Demon Balor and that Corbin seemed thrown off, and it wasn't like, oh, he's the demon, cool, but I'm still gonna beat on him for.
Yeah, Corbin did a good job of selling how like terrified he was of the situation.
I just don't get why the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome."
Because they haven't seen it in a year, and it
But
wasn't
it's
advertised.
face paint.
But
It's
it wasn't
like-
advertised.
So that's like, should we go crazy if Bray Wyatt gets a new hat the next time he comes out? Like,
I'm never going to shit on anything that gets the crowd excited.
Yeah, especially in a main roster show.
It's like we can look at that and think, oh, this is really like dumb. But I look at those sort of things with lots of different situations and say, well, why are people getting excited by this stuff? And then they just go, well, they're getting excited by it. So why am I to either complain or judge them for getting excited by it?
I mean, it's a positive thing that they got excited.
As much as we've all talked about the fact that we don't, all of us kind of combined, we don't find Balor that particularly interesting or charismatic. The dude's just consistently over with the crowds, and so then they must be seeing something that we're not seeing. So
That has to be the case. I just don't see it, and
I'm not saying we're wrong for what we're saying. I think what we're saying is fairly accurate. But if the majority of people don't see that or don't want to see that, then who am I to
power
complain
to
about?
them.
Yeah.
To each their own. In my mind, this was like, all right, let's go on to something better. And unfortunately, they didn't. They ended up going to Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy, which was, in my mind, the worst part of the night. This match for the United States title, did not enjoy it. Thought that they brought the energy down even more. And even worse, after the match, Randy Orton comes out and turns around and leaves and doesn't do a damn thing. Which leaves Jeff Hardy to stand in the ring and clap.
That I wouldn't have shown on screen. I wouldn't have shown that. But I thought Randy Orton coming down and being like, all right, I'm going to fuck you up. And then just going, no, not tonight. Bye. I enjoyed that because it showed, no, I'm going to do this shit on my terms. You don't tell me when I strike. I'm the Viper. I tell you when I strike. I enjoyed it.
I would have appreciated that more if the crowd actually gave a fuck about anything that was going on in this segment. But from the start of the match, I mean, this was the point in the night where, even though I'd enjoyed the show a lot up to this point, the time where like the plus 3 hours was starting to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh god, I've been watching this for so long, and this match is like, it's not particularly interesting. I'm not too excited about the feud because really the feud has been Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, not Shinsuke Nakamura and Jeff Hardy. And the match was okay, but Hardy's moving really slowly, and Nakamura's is still not up to anywhere near the standards he used to do. I mean, I like the thing with the like spinning kick on the apron. I thought that was pretty cool. But and I have to say, with the swanton bomb on the apron, that is you should never be doing a move that reckless and dangerous in a match which is getting this little crowd reaction.
When you're injured.
Yeah, they couldn't even get like a holy shit chant out of it or anything like that. The crowd just saw it, they made the reaction, obviously like, oh, and then just stopped and then just went silent because nobody cared about this match.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, look what it was sandwiched in between and look what was following it.
Yeah, this was the point where you were going to get, like, I assumed that they were prepared for the Balor and Corbin match to be the match where they decide to sit on their hands, but then the Demon comes out, so they get a bit more excited. So then this match comes out, and then, this is the time where we're going to get our energy back.
That's actually exactly what I did. I had said when I saw Corbin's entrance, okay, I'm going to go pee. And then I realized the Demon was coming, and it was a 1-minute match, so I stayed. And as soon as I saw what was next, I left.
Now, I can make the argument that says if this was going to be a crappy match, it makes sense that they put it here so that the other two matches that followed it didn't suffer. But at the same time, you just said the 3+ hours were starting to get to you. You got to figure I watched the pre-show too. I have 2 more hours attached to that. So at this point, 5 hours into the event, I'm going, all right, I'm the type of person that can sometimes be awake for 48 hours. It's not natural. It's completely horrible for my health, but hey, it's just kind of the way my brain works sometimes. And I'm still getting a little tired. And I'm not getting sleepy. I'm not, like struggling to keep my eyes open, but I'm kind of need a little bit of an adrenaline shot. And Demon Balor was not that adrenaline shot for me in particular. So having a quick squash match for that just made me go, really? People are into this? And then it went to Nakamura Hardy, and I was like, this match kind of sucks. And then Orton comes out, and it's like, all right, well, he's going to do the predictable thing. Kind of stupid that they did that. And then he doesn't do anything, and then I'm like, all right, well, at least do the predictable thing, goddammit. It's kind of like...
I think the idea they were trying to get across was that they might have been doing like the on my terms thing, but I think the more idea they were going to go across was Orton was going to charge the ring, and it was supposed to excite the crowd because they were going to get to see a post-match attack like they'd seen in other ones, and he was just going to... But then he decided to just walk away and leave them wanting the attack, but not giving it to him because he's trying to be the most uber heel he possibly can be. But just nobody gave a fuck, so it didn't work.
And I think that's a dangerous game when you try to play around with the idea of, we're trying to present this as all being real. You can either go along with it or you are not going to go along with it. But we're going to also take a couple other characters and present them as, we know that you know that this isn't real, so we're going to try to piss you off because wouldn't it be great if we pissed you off, kind of a thing.
Well, isn't that the whole energy behind the Lesnar thing? Like,
yeah, that's why I don't like it. It's one of the reasons why I don't like it. So that's thumbs down for this segment.
Just as a quick question, obviously before we move it, who do you think's next for Nakamura?
Well, at this point, I would have thought Rusev, but he didn't win. So if he does go on with Nakamura, then it's kind of like, all right, clearly Nakamura is going to win, and that's kind of the case. But they're really struggling. That's why I'm really, 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 really hoping that tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, or I guess technically now on Monday Night Raw tonight, that Baron Corbin fires Finn Balor, and that they sign him on SmackDown.
Or maybe he could fire the Demon, and then the Demon only appears on SmackDown, and Finn Balor appears on Raw.
I like it. Give us more Balor. Maybe he succeeds in one brand, and they can figure out where he belongs.
I don't want to see Balor Baby. I don't want to see... We got Finn Balor and Demon Balor. We don't need Balor Baby on top of it. And he just comes out like a little kid.
He crawls instead of doing the weird
crawling thing that he does.
Yeah.
And then he pops up with AJ Styles and he goes, "You're bleeding." And then he pops up with Adam Cole and he goes,
and Samoa
Adam Cole, me.
And Samoa Joe's his daddy now as well.
Yeah, there you go. All right, new storylines. Look at that, SmackDown. We wrote down something that's kind of ridiculous, but at least we're trying instead of saying, and then Shinsuke Nakamura has a no contest finish. That's where I'm hoping that they go. I'm hoping that Finn Balor gets shipped over to SmackDown, because what else is he going to do on Raw? You're gonna get Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns. You're gonna get Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens again. Like,
at least they have a Universal Champion now.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. We also have a new Raw Women's Champion. Alexa Bliss gets her ass whooped by Ronda Rousey. Natalya came out. Natalya didn't do anything.
Wore her dad's jacket. That's all she needed to do.
Yeah, I think
I was surprised that there was no Mickie James and that they didn't do something like that, but maybe they didn't want to repeat the whole Ambrose thing.
Well, it's Mickie James is injured, so I don't think she's available right now. And
I think like they don't want to have Natty involved in anything because it's like, let's just let her get
not.
It
was more of just a nod to her, just to make sure she was involved, just because like she could have easily just said, "Nah, I don't want to appear on this show," and they would have accepted it. But
yeah, it would have been fine. You know.
Wait,
but you said Mickey's injured?
Yeah, she's been injured. That's why they traded in Alicia Fox for her, because Mickie James can't compete at the moment.
Didn't know about that. Well, then at that point, it's like I'm kind of surprised that Alicia Fox didn't come out.
Yeah, I thought there would be Alicia Fox as well. Just on the Natalya thing, we also mentioned the fact that both, according to a tweet that I saw from Meltzer, both Carmella and AJ Styles had to update their attire in kind of like to honor Natalya and Jim Neidhart.
Carmella, I believe. AJ Styles was not.
Yeah, it was a bit too purpley for AJ Styles as well.
And AJ Styles also came out and said he had those gloves. They were a mistake on a gear order. And his new gear guy was like, I will make you tights for these gloves.
Yeah, that probably sounds like it. But Carmella's one definitely was kind of a tribute to her.
Well, we ended up getting Ronda Rousey total squash here. She makes good use of Alexa Bliss's flexibility with her arm. That was nice.
That was real good. I enjoyed the face paint. I might be the only one.
I hated it so much.
Did you think it was a shout out to like Bull Nakano?
No, I thought it was a Black Swan thing, or the fact that the makeup department usually is quite hit and miss with Rousey.
I don't even think that they're hit or miss. I think that they're 100% miss. I mean, Ronda is the type of person, we talked about this in the Sexiest Superstars tournament. Ronda, I think, you're not going for like glamorous when you're doing the in-ring stuff. So, you know, you can talk about like, well, she looks kind of weird or whatever when she's doing like the angry face or whatever the case may be. I know people are going to be like, well, that's something you shouldn't even bother worrying about, but that's neither here nor there. That's not a problem. That's, you know, part of the actual in-ring performance and stuff like that. But the makeup that they keep putting on her is almost like, I don't know, it kind of makes me think that like they're putting the makeup on the wrong person. I don't know much about makeup, but she's got like wings that are not even like on her eye. It's kind of like above her eye. Like
she's first of all, she's embracing her fear of bats. Okay.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. It's just that it looked like if they had it like, if they had leftover stuff from Finn Balor and were like, I don't know, throw it somewhere on your face. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's not even like, wow, it's kind of bad makeup. It's like, wow, this is bad decision makeup. I don't get it. I think it's stupid. But Ronda Rousey proved again she can do some good stuff in the ring. So that's a thumbs up.
And Alexa really stood out with the just like begging for mercy and like, no, please. You know, I
Look
just
at
thought
that.
It was real good.
The person who can cut the best promos out of the entire women's division is also the one that sells the best when it comes to her character.
Yeah, she looks partly terrified in every single instance that she was fighting. I love the like Ronda giving her a free shot, and then but then Bliss decided to put her in a headlock. Just seems like okay.
And she was so, pardon the pun, blissfully naive about it. Like, yeah, I got it. And Ronda just starts. She puts the face on. And you just hear Bliss go, no, please, no, like, and it was just good, and it wasn't that long either, and everything we saw was exactly what needed to happen, except for that post match with the Bella Twins that just angered me.
Still about like obviously the Bella Twins were obviously they talked about it in the interview beforehand, and they were kind of like just immediately the camera panned over to them at ringside. I had the worst feeling in the pit of my stomach about, oh my god, they're going to get involved. especially because Lex Bliss was close to the apron at some point. So I thought, oh god, they're gonna get close, and like Brie Bella or Nikki Bella is gonna pull Ronda's hair or something like that and attack that and hit with a forearm, and that's gonna set up a match for Evolution where Bliss is still holding the championship. I was so terrified that. I mean, I'm still 100% convinced we're getting Nikki Bella against Ronda Rousey at Evolution.
And let me say, I'm perfectly fine with that. I had said that I think that should be the Mania match because I think that'll draw a lot of casual eyes. But the way that they're going about it like this, if they try to do this casual, like, well, Ronda, I'm a strong, independent woman, and I recognize that you're a strong. I don't want to see. I don't want to see that.
You're forgetting what their goal is here. They want everybody to just celebrate at the end of everything.
That's right.
And if you get strong, independent woman Nikki Bella, who runs multiple companies, depending on, whatever the case may be, against strong, independent woman Ronda Rousey, and they fight, and it's, I respect you, and then Ronda Rousey beats her, and Nikki Bella puts up more of a fight, by the way. She'll put up more of a fight than Alexa Bliss, for sure. Ronda Rousey wins, and then what happens at the end of the night? They hug because, yay, strong independent women put on the end of this card, and isn't that great?
I'm going to cut you off before people think that we're going, we're saying we don't want to see women's celebration. It's not that. I think heat sells more, and I think that these two women are the antithesis of one another, and that you could really tell a great story here. And I don't think respect is the way to tell that story. I think
no, that's the thing. That's the problem here. It's not the fact that, I mean, we've talked before. We all think that Evolution is like, it's kind of cool. So it's not like, oh, they should throw the men on there or some kind of thing like that. It's just, you give me Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, I'm not expecting it to be a great match. And if I'm going to go into it not expecting a great match, the last thing I want is for it to be a facetious bad match.
Well, yeah, you don't want it to be presented as like two technical wizards in a battle of respect, because
right, because it's not going to be.
Because Ronda's not experienced enough, and as much as Nikki Bella improved in the ring during her time, first of all, she's been out of action for a significant amount of time, so she's going to have ring rust, and also she was, even at her best, she was just good.
Mm-hmm.
She's never been great.
I want it to be something where Nikki Bella's like, I'm the big star here. I started these reality shows. The women's evolution, revolves around me. And Ronda just goes, you were arm candy for celebrities. She's got this thing about being a DNB, a do-nothing bitch. Call Nikki Bella a do-nothing bitch. And then, have that kind of intensity going into it. I think that would be great.
That'd be so much better than we all got together and celebrated in the ring at SummerSlam. And do you remember how we hugged? Well, now we're going to fight.
I mean, it's a natural course thing to do, because the Bella Twins get in and do the celebration with Natalya, and they're just booed, like mercy.
Yeah, they got booed again. That was great.
It's just like, as much as obviously a lot of people are fans of her from the Total Divas and Total Bella stuff, and there's a lot of people that are huge fans of and have great respect for what Nikki Bella and Brie Bella are both accomplished, but the overall thing is that the majority of the vocal majority of like WWE crowds just hate both of them.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake about it. The Bella Army is a real thing. They have devoted fans, just not at SummerSlam in Brooklyn, New York.
Yep. And when it comes to them against Ronda Rousey, it's gonna be the people going like, all right, Ronda, fuck her up, and not doing the whole like, I don't know who I'm going to root for because I love them so much, like that kind of thing. And it's just poor decision making, I think.
If that match happens, Wago's going to be wishing that Rousey just shoots on her.
Oh yeah, he's going to be like, I'm rooting for Ronda to somehow give her diverticulitis. But that, again, it's the type of thing that makes me sum up a lot of this, where it's like, I liked this segment a lot. I just, at the end of that segment, they did something that made me go, really? That's what you want to do? Like, putting the title on Ronda, smart move. Makes sense. We all knew it was coming, that kind of a thing. But the Bella Twins celebration at the end just made me go, damn it, you couldn't just stay with the good thing.
So aside from that in the celebration, I enjoyed her just adorably leaving them in the ring and jumping over to her husband. And
I like that.
Yeah,
And
she
then-
seemed genuinely really happy about everything that was going on. It was like a real
Like, if
emotional
you-
moment for her.
If you went with just that, great. The Bella Twins stuff shouldn't have even been a part of it.
I also
And the
like
person I watched it with was like, wait, you don't want to see Lesnar, but you're okay with this? And I went, yes, she wants to be there. I'm perfectly fine with this.
Again, it depends on what you've built up and what your history is. Ronda Rousey, since coming into WWE, has been a rookie who has had some hiccups. You know, she's not good on promos, and she's had problems when it comes to that stuff, and her makeup is a mess. But she's still going out there putting on better performances than myself and a lot of other people have been giving her credit for, and proving that she wants to do this kind of stuff. And she's wrestled on house shows, and she's taken part of lots of media, and she hasn't had this title and not done anything for a long time,
Yeah,
or
she's
fought the same people over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and she's a big enough star that she definitely could have gotten a contract with a much lighter schedule than the one she's actually got.
Yeah. So
and
it's like, you
and
know
yet
what?
She's still turning up. So.
I'm not going to crap on Ronda Reigns. Ronda Reigns. On
Oh god, it's like the ultimate like.
Ronda Reigns. That would be the perfect thing that they would want.
Hmm.
I'm not going to crap on Ronda Rousey for something that Brock Lesnar did. You know? But let's talk about Brock Lesnar, because the main event was Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And if you thought that the crowd was going to boo, hey, look at this. We got Braun Strowman here. He says that he's going to cash in, and he's not going to wait, and he's not going to be that type of person that waits and cashes in right after something. He's going to cash in right after the match. Huh?
That
He
was weird.
He told them to their face that he was going to cash in.
Yeah, okay, I
That's
guess
the
that's
difference.
like
It was like, what? Like,
it's almost like
that was a
saying,
stupid idea.
I'm not a coward, but I'm also Braun Strowman, and I'm not gonna make a triple threat. I'm gonna sit here and watch you kill each other.
My heart sank when he came out, because I was like, God damn it, they're going to do this again. They're going to do the whole thing where Braun Strowman either takes the pin and Brock Lesnar retains, or Braun Strowman pins Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar didn't have to lose, and Roman Reigns can still say, well, I, won another match against Brock Lesnar. And I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then when he said, hey, the most logical thing that you're looking at right now, nah, I'm just going to wait. I was like, okay, all right. We can still get something good here.
I think Brock took legitimate offense to him calling him Beastie Boy. Like, it's the way that, because you could tell Brock Strowman was meant to be carrying on with his promo, and then Brock was just getting right in his face about it. I think.
Let me go into the description and change to Mark Wiggins. Let's go with Mark out moment here. I don't think so.
Usually something like that soon, so he can call you like Tony Marco.
So then Roman Reigns starts off and he hits like 4 of the worst Superman punches in the world.
I
Yeah,
thought
they
they were
didn't
gonna do
connect
your
at all.
idea. And then he goes for the spear, and Lesnar catches him in a fucking guillotine, and I would like they started out so high intensity that I was super into it. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed the way this started. And then when they got Strowman involved accidentally, and then Brock decides, well, fuck it. I'm just going to F5 you and beat you with your briefcase and throw your briefcase all the way up the fucking ramp because fuck your briefcase. You're not doing shit tonight. And
It's
then,
quite.
go ahead.
As I say, it's quite interesting that seems like Brock knew that he was going to be doing the job, so he decides, oh, well, at least I'll just bury some guy before I go out. Just like I'll kill off the monster before I take a pin after one spear. Obviously the 4th spear, but still one in the space of whatever time it was.
And then, by the way, Lesnar took the chair in the ring. He was like, fuck this. I'm done here. And Roman hit him with the spear, and the chair flew back in Lesnar's face, which is an awesome touch. I don't think it was planned, but
well, it clearly wasn't because Lesnar decided, oh, I've got to move the chair out of my face, but not kick out at the same time.
And then you get the 3 count, and I was just over the moon. This was exactly what I wanted to happen. Roman Reigns, and I know I had read the Mega Maniacs chat. I know I'm in the minority here. That fucking needed to happen. It needed to happen, guys. We'll deal with everything tomorrow night.
But see, that's the problem that I have with this kind of thing is it did need to happen, but it needed to happen in April.
Yes.
And now that you do it, it's like, I'm not giving you shit credit. This is too little too late.
Well, yeah,
Fuck you. You're still getting a middle finger from me because of this, like...
It's more of an issue for me. It's like a case of like, it's not just like it needs to happen in April, it needs to happen now, whatever. It's just like, why did you ever put yourself in a situation where something needed to happen like this?
Yeah.
It's like,
why did it need to
or anything
happen?
like that. It's like, why did you have to be so fixated on Roman Reigns beating Brock Lesnar for the title?
And what are you going to get out of it too? Because that's the other problem with this is now that we've got this out of the way, people are going to go, oh, you see, now it happened, and now you're still bitching and complaining. Yes, because the problem behind this wasn't just, oh, I want Roman Reigns to win the title and then I'll be happy. The problem is you fucked Roman Reigns over for the past couple of years to the point where when you do eventually do this, it still isn't going to fix the problem. It's just going to be one less problem.
It's just a different problem now, yeah.
Yeah, now the issue isn't that we've got this whole Brock Lesnar holding the title and just taking up a year and a half of nothing. Now it's, okay, now we've gone to phase 2, where the belt is on somebody that people don't want to see as a babyface champion. And you've got a babyface guy who is so over in Braun Strowman. Massively over with the crowd. And you bring him out there, it's a manipulation tactic. You put him out there and he's ringside so people don't leave. And that they are hopeful that he's going to cash in at the end. And what happens at the end of this pay-per-view? Roman Reigns pins Brock Lesnar, and they very quickly go, celebration, all right, the little bug at the corner of the screen, and then the end, where people don't have a chance to really react. And they're going to act tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw like, wow, you see, everybody went crazy for this, and isn't Braun Strowman kind of like yesterday's news because we got that Roman Reigns guy. Hi, you like him, don't you?
Well,
and when Roman Reigns comes out, he's going to get booed to high heaven.
I'm not going to say anything negative about this until I see the end of tomorrow and how we go moving forward. Because as a moment, I know, like I've already said, I'm in the minority, but this is exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted Roman holding up the title as the show went off the air because it should have happened at WrestleMania. And the only reason they did it was to try to stick it to people who said, hey, this needs to happen and it's obvious. So they dragged it out until SummerSlam just to be dickheads. And now, at least we have a full-time Universal Champion. And we can do so much more. Raw will be so much better. It will be so much more must-see because there's at least a major champion on the show.
Well, see, this is what I'm worried about. Tomorrow night, Braun Strowman comes out, bitches and complains, says he wants a match against Roman Reigns. They book a match. Kevin Owens screws him.
So
Which
you're
one?
worried that the Money in the Bank
screws Braun Strowman. And we get either Braun Strowman against Kevin Owens in a Hell in a Cell match, and Roman Reigns moves on to somebody else. God forbid it's somebody like a Bobby Lashley or a rematch against Brock Lesnar again. Because I really don't want to see it in any capacity whatsoever. Even if it's Hell in a Cell, even if it's Roman Reigns going in as a champion, nothing like that. Or we get a triple threat. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman, Hell in a Cell. I don't want to see it.
Well, let me ask you this. You had said in your fantasy booking that you wanted to see Braun versus Brock, loser leaves town. Would you like to see that inside of a Hell in a Cell and have Roman Reigns fight Kevin Owens for the Universal title?
Nope. Because I wanted that to happen months ago. It's too little too late again. At this point, the only way that I'd be happy with that is if Braun Strowman beats the living shit out of Brock Lesnar to a point where they make such a fervent statement that puts Braun Strowman over and degrades Brock Lesnar so much that they won't even necessarily want Brock Lesnar to come back again. And they're not going to do that.
Well, I wouldn't say they'd go that far, but I could definitely see that match happening not at Hell in a Cell, but tonight on Raw. I think because Brock Lesnar's scheduled to appear on this episode of Raw. So there's every chance that they could put him in a match against Strowman, because Strowman, I mean, even though Strowman missed out on his opportunity to cash it in, it's not Reigns' fault he missed out on an opportunity, it's Lesnar's fault because Lesnar beat the shit out of him. So he comes back.
Still worried about that triple threat idea.
I think triple threat. I'm pretty sure because of all the. I know it's obviously cards that just change, but all the posters are suggesting it's going to be Reigns against Owens, and I don't like that idea just because Owens got his ass kicked in the last thing, and he hasn't looked strong in a very long time. Like, the only reason he would be fighting for the Universal Championship is because he's like good friends with Stephanie McMahon and Baron Corbin. But
Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns will not get cheered.
Yeah, and Roman Reigns, and then the difference being obviously that Roman Reigns won't get cheered because the crowd loves Kevin Owens, and he won't win, and he'll win the match because it's Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he'll win the match, and people will boo Roman Reigns, and then we'll just be on this whole train where every week they book Roman Reigns as a babyface, and he doesn't get cheered, and we go against the intended notion. And they go and, today on Monday Night Raw, we're going to have Roman Reigns team up with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. The Shield are going to reunite. Don't you guys love that? Because they're going to fight Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre in a 6-man tag match. This is going to be fantastic. Roman Reigns comes out there, gets booed. Seth Rollins goes out there, gets cheered. Dean Ambrose gets cheered. They tag in Roman Reigns, he gets booed again. It's the same thing that's been happening for years, and they don't learn. So it's like now we've just transitioned from Brock Lesnar being the champion that doesn't exist, and Roman Reigns being the guy who's not cheered to fight him, to Roman Reigns is the champion who's not getting cheered. And it's like, we've said it a million times.
But at least he's there.
Roman deserves better than this.
Rob, I know what you're trying to say about this stuff, but you shouldn't just be settling for this.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that now we've got a champion who is going to be booked stupid for the next 12 months or whatever it might be. Isn't it great that he can be booked like that so poorly and stuff?
Yeah,
we needed change here.
It shouldn't be a case of like, oh, thank God you only kicked me in my right testicle because that one's slightly hardier than the other one.
Yeah, I don't know what the medical procedure is when it comes to that, but it's a too little too late type thing, and it's not that I have like everything should go the way that I want it to, but at least from my perspective as a fan, you're not giving me what I want. You're just giving me one less thing that I don't want. So I'm still annoyed about it. Like, if I would have had it my way, Braun Strowman would have been walking out with the championship. Because I like Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and I think more people will be universally happy with that. Because even if... And there are a lot of Roman Reigns fans out there, but I still think a lot of the Roman Reigns fans are Braun Strowman fans. And a lot of people aren't Roman Reigns fans, but they're still Braun Strowman fans. So it's just a case of like... Or if you choose like Seth Rollins or something along those lines, you're still getting a similar fan base because those people probably still like all those other people. It's just you don't get the same exorbitant hatred that you get for Roman Reigns that comes with the package deal.
Yeah, my girlfriend loves onions on her pizza. I love pepperoni. Caroline's not she's a vegetarian, so she wouldn't eat pepperoni. If we have a plain pizza, we're both happy. Or if we get half and half, that's what we usually get. But like, it's still fundamentally we like pizza. And you give us pizza, we're going to enjoy it. Well, we like baby faces that are over with the crowd and big over-the-top type characters, like a Braun Strowman. If you're a Roman Reigns fan, you probably are a Braun Strowman fan. And if you're a Braun Strowman fan, you might not necessarily be a Roman Reigns fan. Either way, if you listen to the crowd, which one was the one that was cheered more? It was Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman is definitely one of the more over baby faces on Raw. I don't know if he's more or on par with Seth, but
those are the top two for sure. And that makes me so nervous that they're going to go, well, people are going to keep cheering this Braun Strowman over our Roman Reigns babyface champion. We have to nip that in the bud. Let's kill that off by making it to where we can transfer the heat. Because remember, we talked earlier about the Becky Lynch heat. They're very, very concerned with, let's make something happen that'll piss people off because then they'll boo that person. I think that they're going to have Kevin Owens fuck over Braun Strowman on Monday night. And then that's going to be like, all right, there goes to Money in the Bank. There goes Braun Strowman. Shouldn't we boo that dastardly Kevin Owens? Oh, and then he gets a chance against Roman Reigns. Ooh, I hate that guy. Roman, please beat him. And nobody's going to do it.
But I don't want to see them turn Braun either, because that kind of reminds me of 5 years ago when they turned Ryback, who was super over, just so that Cena could work a heel instead
exactly.
Which it's. I mean, I know I'm trying to end it on a bit of a sour note, because like it was a very good show and I did enjoy the match for what it was, but it's a case of like you can see this coming from a mile away because it's happened so many times before, and while there's still the hope that they do something different, you can't just forget everything they've done in the past and say, oh, this time it's going to be different. Just like the definition of madness.
Yep.
And I would say, just based on the historical thing, there is so much more likelihood that they'll turn Braun Strowman because they're worried about him getting cheered more than Roman Reigns, or at least attempt to turn Braun Strowman. They'll never actually do so because the crowd will act how it wants to. But they'll portray Strowman as the heel just because he's getting more of attention than Reigns.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm worried about. And that's what makes me kind of go, God damn it, man, you couldn't even do that this time around. You had all of the things in the world that pointed in one direction, and you're just too damn stubborn. It's really annoying.
Real quick question. Heyman sticks around, yay or nay?
No.
No, he's gone.
Oh, yeah, I think that. I know loads of people were talking about that. The idea is like, oh, maybe he'll go with like a Rousey or some other like character that could do it. It's like he's only ever been in WWE to work with Heyman. I know he worked with Punk for a long time, but that Lesnar was still around. If Lesnar's not around, he's got no reason to be there.
Well, I at least want him to be some kind of a consultant or something. He's too good of a mind to lose.
I think it's just his preference at the end of the day. So if he wants to stick around, I'm sure they'll be able to find a place for him. But if he's only ever just been around here just to be with Lesnar, then if Lesnar's not around, he doesn't be around ever.
Well, I just want nice things, Callum.
Well, then you shouldn't be a WWE fan, to be honest. That's the one piece of advice I'll give you.
All in, here we go.
I mean, not to crap on this too much and stuff like that, because that's not necessarily the case. Like, I look at it this way. The predominant factor in this card for the whole show, from the 7 hours of it, I really liked damn near every single match from start to finish. Just some of the decisions that they made at the end of this made me go, damn it. And then just like, It's kind of like that last bite really sucked. That kind of thing. Yeah. You know, he had a great Intercontinental title match. You had a great tag team match with a stupid ending. You had what was the match that was after that? That was the Kevin Owens Braun Strowman thing. It was like, oh, that was kind of fun. You had a great triple threat match, and then it was like, you kind of fucked up that Charlotte thing with Becky. You had a great Styles Samoa Joe match, and you're like, you're kind of stalling here. Then you had the Miz and Daniel Bryan, and then that was the one instance where I'm like, I like that ending. Then, it's kind of like that. I feel like the performers went out and they did their job spectacularly, except for Hardy and Nakamura, but Hardy's injured, so I can't blame him. The performers did a great job. The writers didn't necessarily. So, I don't know. I'm much, much more positive about this than I thought that I would be.
Obviously I enjoyed all the performances. I actually quite liked most of the... I like the writing in the sense of, even though I don't necessarily agree with all the decisions, at least it felt like it was building towards the future. Like, it still felt like they were giving us a good show here, but they were also pushing forward. They didn't just do one or the other. And I definitely would at least say, I think by far and away, this is my favourite main roster show of the year so far.
I would have to agree with that, and I did really enjoy everything, and I guess I'll take the mantle of the WWE apologist here, but I'm okay with it because at least we know kind of where we're going. And yes, it sucks that it's, formulaic and it's a pattern that's old, but at least we're back on track.
I'll say, how do I put this?
Thumbs in the middle.
Thumbs up predominantly. Stop proving to me that you still don't know what you're doing. Don't fuck anything up anymore. Kind of thing. Kind of like
that's a tall order there, Tony.
Yeah.
It is, and I got a feeling tomorrow night they're gonna do some stuff that's gonna piss me off. And if they don't, yay! Amazing, spectacular. This is awesome. And if they do, then I'll go, God damn it, you see, I fucking told you so. It's one of those kind of things.
Who knows? We could be saying at the end of Monday Night Raw, new Universal Champion Velveteen Dream. You know? You never
If that's
know.
the case, I'm totally fine with this. Especially if he has some backstage segment where he's talking on the phone to Vince McMahon.
Cool.
Just putting it out there. It's kind of... I can't be so excited about this because I'm so nervous about the next step that they're going to take, knowing that they did some things on this card that proved to me that they're going in a direction that I don't think it's the best way to go. But hats off to the performers. Fucking great matches.
Yeah, a good shot. A good shot. It's good to come out of a SummerSlam thinking that it wasn't completely blown out of the water by the NXT show.
Yeah. And considering that this year, WrestleMania made me groan, Greatest Royal Rumble was irrelevant, Backlash put me to sleep, and Money in the Bank was just Money in the Bank and Extreme Rules were just so. This was a refreshing change of pace.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to rank it at the end of the year for my end of the year awards.
Well, it's definitely not getting best
pay-per-view.
show because it's not an NXT one, but might as well just chuck it a cursory mention maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Honorable mentions for best show.
But as far as our whole roundabout goes and stuff like that, I mean, if you were looking at us trying to think that we were going to be entirely negative or entirely positive, there you go. You got a little bit of a mix between those. But I want to know what you guys listening have to say about this, so make sure that you drop your comments below and tell us what you thought about this pay-per-view. Any kind of thoughts you have, you agree or disagree with us. Opinions are totally valid. It doesn't matter. If you are following us in the future and you want to be aware of what the next couple of things that we have coming your way is going to be, tomorrow night is usually when we do the hot tags. We've had enough podcast talk for a while. I need a little bit of a break, and I have other things I have to work on too. So I don't know when we're doing the hot tags yet, and that'll be coming up at some point this week, as will the mailbag for August. So if you have not sent in your mailbag questions yet, go ahead and do that as soon as you possibly can, just to be sure that you can get your questions in and we can have enough time to actually go through them, pick out the ones that we want to answer, filter out the ones that we've already answered or that we'll save for another time or something like that. And we'll do that maybe Thursday or, I don't know, whatever the case may be when it comes to that kind of stuff. So the best way to be aware of when those things do come up is to subscribe on the YouTube channel and click on that little bell for notifications. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. You can also check the SmarkOutMoment.com website itself for everything that goes on there and everything beyond that we've got going on. FanboysAnonymous.com is my site for movie reviews and different topics like that. So check that out if you're interested in that. And if you want to help us keep the lights on here and you got a little bit of spare change you want to toss our way, you can hit up the Redbubble and TeePublic websites for the merch shops, pick up a t-shirt or something like that. And you can also check out the Patreon that we have for both Fanboys and Smark Out Moment to see if you want to get in any of that kind of stuff. That's my plugs. Just follow me all over the place. You'll click around and you'll see a lot of crap that I'm working on. Too much crap at the very least. How about you guys? Callum?
Go. You're just do your thing.
Oh, okay. I'll just push myself into it. You can follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14, and I'll just say to check out the great weekly articles that we've got going out on Smark Out Moment on, as you can guess, a weekly basis.
And for me, I am very tired. It's at Dude Felice on Twitter and Instagram. I'm trying to be more active, at least on Twitter. Check out WrestleZone.com for your daily wrestling news. I will be doing the WrestleZone daily live chat on their Facebook page tomorrow at about 6 p.m. Eastern. So talking more SummerSlam because I just can't get enough of it. And then I will be back whenever Tony wants to do the hot tags or the mailbags. And if you want to support me, you can buy a t-shirt at timekillerapparel.com. Thanks.
Hot tags and mailbags. That's what we got coming your way this week. Sounds kind of strange. Thank you for listening, of course, everybody. This is, one of the big shows of the year, and it's always good to see people kind of showing their support and stuff like that. And we will see you for the next thing. So, adios to all those in audience land. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.